Hello everyone and welcome to a video about a certain piece of obsolete technology, and a lot of you new subscribers may be completely shocked to see something like this on the channel, but unfortunately, or not unfortunately, just kind of maybe slightly inconveniently, I have a massive VHS collection, and of course it would cost me an arm and a leg to buy all of those films again on Blu-ray, which is the format that I now buy my films on. So I do have some duplicates, but I find it hard to part with the VHS versions because, some of them mean quite a lot to me and I just like the original release versions. Take one of my favourite films of all time, for example, The Lost Boys. I own that triple set on Blu-ray, even though the sequels are absolute cack. But I still own the original VHS version from 1987, and I still own the re-released VHS edition from the late 90s, or whenever the hell that was released. But anyway, unfortunately, my primary VCR, which is what the Americans call it, but here we just normally call it a video player or a VHS machine or a videotape, whatever, has completely conked out. I was using a Sony, can't remember the model number, I'll put it on the screen if I remember. Really nice system. It had high-speed rewind, it had great sound, it's a great looking video player, and I was using that on my primary setup, which is my projector setup. Now I do have a secondary setup which uses an old Akai machine, and that is for my bedside TV setup, or the TV setup at the end of my bed rather, which is all, based around vintage stuff, so it's a lot older than this. Basically, my dad was browsing around the second-hand stuff and he came across this Sharp. This is a MH75HM, and I did have to read that off of the included user manual. Now, this does look to be a very promising machine. It's not quite as nice looking as the Sony unit, but the specs suggest that it's pretty much just as good. So, obviously, I strive to have the best picture and audio quality that I can from a VHS player connected to a 72-inch screen and a Dolby surround system. It really needs to perform, especially considering I play Blu-rays on the same system. If they're worlds apart, then it's pretty much impossible to watch. But if you look after your tapes, and if you look after your tape player, then things aren't as bad as people make out. VHS gets slated a lot, and yes, it is incredibly low quality in comparison to something like Blu-ray. Obviously, it's very old technology, it's 70s technology, but it still works, you can still watch films, and it's not too bad. So, rambling aside, let's take a closer look at this system. Basically, we're going to test it in this video, see what it's like. I'm going to point the camera at the screen, and yeah, if this isn't for you, then feel free not to watch. So, as mentioned, it comes with the remote control, which is a little bit sun-yellowed, but it's nice to have one because I didn't have one for my Sony and I never got around to getting one. So I always had to get up from the chair or the sofa or the bed or wherever to pause, or to, stop rather. I never pause my tapes. And then we have the operation manual. That's a little unusual. They normally call it an operating manual. Anyway, yeah, cool. That's quite hefty, of course. This machine does do a lot of stuff, and I assume there's a couple of different languages in here. I can't flick through it because it's bent. So we'll put that to one side, and we'll get on to what's really important, and that's the machine. So the first thing we'll take a look at is the actual flap here for the front load cassette system. It says it's a 6-head machine. I believe my old machine was a 4-head, so I'm not an expert on these things at all, but I assume the more heads the better. It's got Nicam sound and hi-fi stereo sound, which is great, of course. I'd expect nothing less. I need the phono jacks on the back just to get into my receiver. Of course, it's not discrete surround. If your tape says it supports surround, let's have a look. Okay, some tapes just say they support Dolby, like so, and that could mean Dolby Surround or Dolby Stereo. Lots of tapes do say they can support Dolby Surround, going quite early actually. This one says stereo Dolby system, so that is stereo. But if you look at a newer tape, let's take a look, you can see that it'll say Dolby Surround. Okay, none of that is discrete. It's all emulated in the clever Dolby stereo way, but to be perfectly honest, unless you've got a really high-end surround system, it's hard to tell the difference. And the surround that I did get off my Sony machine with just using the 2 phono jacks going into the receiver was absolutely great. It was really okay. It says it has a 1 minute high-speed rewind, which is great. 1 minute may sound like a lot by today's standards, you know, the fact that you don't even need to rewind at all, but you know, the high-speed rewind was great on the Sony, and it's something that I really like. And it says it has easy NTSC playback. I assume you can play NTSC tapes, which is cool. The rest of this machine is fairly standard. I mean, that's even fairly standard. I thought I'd just read the specs, because they tend to do that with these machines. They put the specs on the flap, which is pretty cool. The rest is just your standard buttons. There are no AV jacks hiding underneath any flaps. You normally get AV jacks on the front. My Sony has them, so you know it's just hiding underneath a flap. But I've never used them. You know, it's for a camera input. Sorry. So I've never used them. The rest are just the standard controls. Here we have a screen, quite a small screen compared to my Sony, but again, not really used. Just handy for the timer and stuff, or not even for that really. Because I'm not recording or anything on these anymore, of course. I do a little bit of VHS recording for some stuff, but I use my Akai machine for that. Just because it's a very, very good machine, even though it's late 80s, early 90s, it gives a great picture. And no matter what these newer ones are like, they're never as good for that kind of thing. Anyway, standard controls over here, and that is pretty much it for the front. So let's whiz around and take a look at the back. So the back is fairly standard. Of course, hardwired power jack, which is pretty much what all of these things have, unfortunately. Label. Standard stuff. And coming over here we have the input-output section. So we have the RCA jacks that I was talking about, the phono outputs left and right. You can use any standard phono cables. Very, very handy. You can go straight into your hi-fi. A lot of people did that back in the day. It was a big thing in the 90s. You know, if you had a decent VHS machine and, you know, you liked your films, a lot of people were putting, you know, a simple phono lead into their auxiliary input in their hi-fi and really getting those tapes pumping through. Even in the 80s, you know, really cool. Dual SCART, input and output, I assume, and of course antenna input and output. Antenna won't be used by me, of course, because it was, you know, common practice to tune your VCR into the TV channels in order to record onto tape while watching a separate channel on your TV. But of course, they've switched analog TV off now, so that's quite interesting. They have a SCART input on things like this, just in case you wanted to record from satellite or something. So you'd go through this to record even from satellite, which is pretty handy, but you'd probably only be able to watch one channel at a time unless you watched an analog channel from your television as well. But then you'd have to do an antenna pass-through as well. You know, hooking these things up in your specific way with different setups back in the day could have been quite difficult. But, you know, with me, I'm just doing SCART for video and RCA for audio, no inputs at all, so that's cool. I do use input with my other machine, but I use it just as a pass-through for a Freeview box. So I can disconnect that and use it as a games console pass-through if I really want to, or even put a splitter on it and use it for both. So what we're going to do is plug all this in now, and I'm going to explain the cable scenario. Now, I have a fairly complicated AV setup in my room, unfortunately, because I integrate between my computer monitor and my projector in a sort of seamless system where I can stream any device to any output, excluding a HDMI device, but that'll all be rectified very soon. None of my wiring is permanent at the moment because I've got a lot of different setups, and basically I've been, for the past 4-5 years, I've been avoiding buying an AV receiver, which would solve all of my issues. If I just bought one of those, it would solve every single one of my issues. But I use a million and one different splitters and converters and adapters for audio and video. That, you know, I get away without using one, and it's not good. I should just go out there and buy one. But anyway, here we have another complicated setup. So basically what I'm going to use is SCART coming out of the machine for video, which is cool, very simple, and I'm going to use left and right audio coming out of the machine for audio. Okay, so that's simple. One slight complication is this is indeed a 3-way phono cable, but you can ignore the yellow one completely. This is just audio. Now, if we look at the other end, that's where stuff gets complicated. I couldn't find a straight up SCART cable, but I couldn't use one anyway because I wanted to put the audio and the video into one SCART connection in my splitter. I had to use one of these. So the first cable is a SCART send and return. It only does mono sound, hence the reason why I'm using a separate audio cable, which is going in here. This is the audio cable, ignore the yellow jack, that's just audio, and this is video. And all of these, this is video out, the black is video in, this is audio out, and this is audio in. This isn't left-right audio. The colours are deceiving. It's a very cheap cable that you can't swap input and output. If you get a better SCART to composite cable, like I've got for my other setup, it has a switch on here, and you select out and in, and then you get stereo sound. So I'm going to hook up this system now, and we're going to put a tape in, and we're going to test it out. I'm going to switch the projector on, and we're going to do all that cool stuff. So the projector is powered up. Now the golden rule of testing one of these beauties is don't use a tape that is close to your heart. So just use a random tape. Now here I have a copy of Dumb and Dumber. I have 2 copies of this tape, and you know it's a good film, but you know it's not close to my heart or anything. It's just a fun little film. So you know we'll whack that in, and if it gets destroyed by the machine, then it's no biggie. Now this tape isn't rewound, so we'll try out the rewind as well, which will be very cool. Now it's taken the tape in, and the display is lit up. So what we'll do is we'll rewind the tape first. So we'll hit stop, and then we'll hit rewind, and we'll check out the rewinding speed. So it is indeed outputting. We've got it on the monitor for now. I've sabotaged some batteries for the remote just so we can do this. I'm going to go menu exit, and here we have the main screen. So, in theory, we should be able to play our tape. Hey, there we go. That's pause, play. There's the credits. So let me just get the sound on the correct thing, and we'll see what we can do. So there we go, we have sound and picture. Now we'll convert over to the projector in just a second, but first we'll hit stop and we'll hit rewind. Now this is the whole film. We'll see how long it takes. We'll do it live on camera. Now, it's taking a little while to build up speed, but my Sony did this. I'm not sure if you have to press it twice. Some are like that. Let's have a look. No, it's really going quite slowly for the rewind. Let's stop that, play again.
Two lucky guys are going to be driving around with those girls for the next...
Yes, it is going quite slowly. Let's see if it'll pick up speed. Now, sometimes they don't go into high-speed rewind mode. I don't know why. It sometimes depends on the tape and such. Here we go. Watch this. This will start going now. Here she goes. Ah, you can hear it. Probably about the same volume as my Sony. Yeah, they literally just chew through these tapes in terms of, you know, the speed of rewind. And you can hear it winding down already. It's getting to the start of the movie. Now, of course, it has to slow it down a lot before it ends, otherwise it'll crash. But yes. Let's play it from here, because we don't want a load of trailers and stuff. Just look up there. There we go. Right on the warning. Let's fast forward a little. Here we are. It looks like it's in. Okay, so the fast forward. Fast forward doesn't go very quick, but that's okay. Interesting. Okay, so it's not chewing tapes. Let's get rid of this cassette and go down. And yeah, because we know it's not chewing tapes, we'll choose a couple of really good films to show it off. Now, I did want to show off with Blade Runner, but unfortunately, I can't find it. I've been in a Blade Runner mood, but I can't find it at all. So that's Dumb and Dumber. That's my dummy cassette out of the way. And what we will do now, I was in the mood to use Blade Runner, guys, because I was just generally really in the mood for the music and everything. Anyway, we'll put in Pulp Fiction, and we'll play this. This has Dolby Surround, as I showed you earlier. So we'll put this in. And what I'll do before putting this in actually is I will close the blinds, get a fixed good angle on the projector screen, and we will have a little look. Alright guys, that is a good angle on the screen. I'm missing about, well, a couple of corners of the screen, but that doesn't matter. It's slightly tilted up. The tripod's as high as it can go. Let me just knock off my LED desk lights. And yeah. Let's take a little look at how it looks. So first up, this is Pulp Fiction. Of course, you can see reflections of the cars going past there on the wall. I don't know if that's coming out on camera. Let me fast forward a bit. Now we're on a coming soon bit. Let me find the start of the film.
Into a restaurant, roll the joint and start puffing away. I mean, they want you to smoke in your home or certain designated places.
Those are hash browns.
Yeah, it breaks down like this, okay? It's legal to buy it, it's legal to own it, and if you're the proprietor of a hash bar, it's legal to sell it. It's legal to carry it, but that doesn't matter. Just get a load of this, all right? If you get...
Okay, so we're going to ditch that film for now. Basically just showed a little bit of the intro there. Now, a while ago on my channel, I unboxed the Alien quadrilogy on tape. Now that's just a silhouette, you can't see it, but this is Alien #1. And basically, it has kick-ass intro. And it really shows off the system. This tape looks and sounds fabulous. I believe it's in really good condition, even though I've watched it a couple of times. And yeah, this is just a great intro. It's got THX sound as well, so you get that big intro. And hopefully you guys will be able to hear it come through on the camera. Oh yeah, this doesn't sound too bad at all. Apart from the retro 20th Century Fox, that's always a bit lame. And here we have the creepy start to Alien! Love it. Now the gain seems to be quite low on this machine. I'm actually at 60% volume and, you know, saying that it is quite a quiet film. So we've got a bit of popping and cracking, guys. Anyway, we'll stop it there. Actually, we'll fast forward a little, just so we can get some scenes. Let's just fast forward across this bit. Yeah, let's have a look. Take a look at it here. Now, the stability of this isn't perfect. The audio is great, apart from when it pops. Now, an annoying thing that you find with a lot of video players is they flutter in and out of hi-fi sound. But this seems to be pretty stable, which is great. My Sony did flutter in and out every now and again, and that sounds terrible halfway through a film. Now that rattle you can hear is actually my toolbox that's sitting on top of my subwoofer. I forgot to take it off. But anyway, guys, that is a little clip of Alien. Now I apologise, guys, that wasn't the best testing of all time, but it is quite difficult, you know, with films to find, you know, good parts and stuff. But yeah, the start of this with the THX and stuff, really cool. Let's just put that right there. So, not bad. Not bad. My gripes, the audio seems to be popping on all the tapes. It may just need a couple of runs. So, I'll give it a couple of runs, see what it does. Now, my dad did say that if I'm not 100% pleased with this, he'll swap it, as long as this works, he'll swap it for his high-end Sony system downstairs. He has a Sony machine very similar to the one that I had up here that's broken. And he said he'll swap it because he doesn't have a great sound system down, you know, it's just TV sound, and he doesn't watch tapes that often, so it's not that important, so any machine will do, which is pretty cool. And of course it's handy for him because it has a remote. He doesn't have a remote for his Sony machine down there either, so you know, getting up all the time is a little bit of a pain in this day and age, of course. But anyway, this is the Sharp system. I will run it for a few days, I'll watch a few films and whatnot, see what it's like, and I may give you guys an update, but probably not. I can't imagine this video being very popular at all. But for you VHS people out there, then yep, I still do watch VHS even though I'm surrounded with high-tech stuff. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Head down into the video description to connect with me further. I can't promise that I do videos like this all the time, but I do a whole host of variety stuff. So follow me on Twitter, like my page on Facebook, which is an official IMNC channel page, by the way, and you can follow me on my personal Instagram profile for when I post video pictures about random stuff. You can also check out my eBay stuff. I've got a lot of eBay stuff coming, even though I've been saying that for a couple of weeks. There is a lot of eBay stuff coming, I promise. But anyway, getting back to this video, thank you very much for watching. I think overall a success. This was £5, by the way, guys, so it's a nice system for £5. I'm going to leave it plugged in. I'm going to move it over slightly, of course, so I can use my computer, and I will continue to further test it across the week in the nights when I want to watch films. So that is great. Really pleased. I'll just see how it goes once it's been broken in a little more, see what the popping audio is all about and whatnot. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.